What a fantastic response that was from FUT. They managed to take down KC of all teams on a Lotus. I'm your host, Yinsu, and I'm back here once again with Kaquka and Steel. We did this in the pre-show. I'm just going to bring this back because we talked a little bit about their comps on Split. We're not going to see Split today, but taking a look once again at this Lotus comp from FUT, I only have one question to the two of you. Would you steal it?
I don't think I would steal it. I think it worked here, but I feel like if KC was able to get ops out earlier and more consistently, I feel like we could have seen a different thing. I think KC has been untraditionally like really sloppy right now, and I think if they were on point, we could have seen a different result.
Also, I think that we need to keep in mind that this could fall into FUT's preparation for today, right? As we said, they play enemy by enemy and opponent by opponent, so they can change things from week to week. What was the strongest thing for KC during this kind of maps? It was the retakes, right? You have to disrupt those kind of things. I think that the Sage Wall was a great element for them, and time after time, we saw KC struggling with that. We saw them struggling, creating the damage and creating actually a space for themselves.
So would you steal it?
I wouldn't.
Both of you would not steal this comp? The one that just took down KC.
In a map.
Okay, yeah, in a map. On their strongest map. But let's take a look at this round real quick, because if you don't steal this comp, would you steal this, I guess, execute?
Well,
This one.
so this is the funny thing here. It's like, okay, this is the round where they use the Cypher as a human drone, right? And then they use the Sage Res to get them back up, because they don't have an initiator on the comp, so they have to do something like face checking. Usually do it with like all the info denial, but yeah, this is.
Honestly, if I have no initiator and I have to get information with a beacon that it's a person, there is no other team that would do it better than FUT. That's at least my opinion. I think that they feel incredibly comfortable taking duels and fights that for other people would not be comfortable. And I think this part of the map, both on C and on A, they were always going to struggle getting the space and the pressure. And in some of them, they made it seem effortless, especially when they were rotating over the map, you know, mid-round. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that played really well into their composition is I feel like KC needs a lot of info about where to move and where their opponent's positions are. I'm okay for now, thank you.
You're welcome.
So basically what this means is like if there's no initiator, then KC doesn't get the free info. Oh, there's a Gecko here. Oh, they're starting this. Oh, they're doing that. So then KC can't move around freely. And then there's so much info denial with the Viper wall, the orb, the smokes, the cages that, you know, they can make it a little bit of pressure towards C and then walk back to A and get that full A exec off. And KC's just blind the whole time.
Yeah, and then when it comes to the defense, I know that we talk about how important Zenit is. For example, when he goes into this role, it's lovely to see him back on the jet, to see him being very comfortable. But I think they were relying on it a bit too much, but I think that it had the effect that they wanted it to have, right? The putting the extra pressure with the operator feeling free. He only needs a smoke. He doesn't need anyone to flash for him. He will fall back, and it also helps them in a way. We were talking about this on the desk of camera. If they don't have to sync for anything else, for the utility fallen, and they just can go for the duel,
just swing.
They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, just swing.
I mean, that is a big part of it, is that they're really good with creating the chaos and then like just taking those duels. Like if everyone's able to just fight and they don't have to worry about, oh, I'm playing this agent, so I have to learn these lineups or learn how to use this ability. It's like you just throw your wall down and then you're fighting the rest of the round. Your jet, you just fight the whole round. So that plays really well into that.
Same on the other side, right? If you're KC, what are you thinking? First of all, what are you thinking when you see this composition? A composition that has never been played before, in a way that you do not expect it, right? Because especially not having a single initiator to gather that information, but also to put the pressure and regain the zones, it's something that you're not supposed to be playing against. And the first thing is like, you wonder, what are they going to do? I think that actually Krax did a very good, job on the Sage and with the silent utility and how he was using the walls again, especially when it was on the attack. Because you're just looking at it being like, okay, so Cena's gonna go in. How's it gonna go in?
Do you feel like maybe they should have punished him a little bit more? Because he was just walking into their spawn like every round.
that's part of like the info denial and everything like that. But like just to highlight where you're talking about with cracks, I would say it's not even the wall, it was the slows.
The slows, yeah.
So whenever KC on their defense would come in for the retake, they would start using their utility. They would throw like Omen Flash or whatever, and then stage slow comes. That's 7 seconds, 8 seconds. You're just like not even moving at all for the retake, and you've used all your abilities to do the retake, and then all it's left is just gunfight versus gunfight. And the same thing with the flip side. You know, KC's trying to go A. They open the door. They're using paranoia. They're doing all these things. Stage slow comes, lands in. They can't even move.
But hear me out. It also comes down to time and time again, especially in the latest, I would say 2 to 3 rounds, that we would just see FUT. Like KC would put a piece of utility. They wouldn't care. They're just like, oh, Vipers, I don't care. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push. And KC were like losing duels. We have never seen KC lose this year.
Yeah, and there was quite a round we saw as well where CNED here popped off, got his kills, but then Martin, I don't know what happened after this, because I honestly thought FUT might have won this, and as we remember, still Martin just did Martin things.
Yeah, and this was the first round where KC was actually able to string more than 2 rounds together in a row. This was so pivotal because not only did Martin have to win in a 3 versus 5 ace clutch, it was also the eco for FUT. It was CNED with a Vandal. He got a couple of kills, and that opened up the round for them. But I mean, the rest of them had Sheriffs. Like, you can't be losing these types of rounds. KC's not looking good at all. They're looking really sloppy, not what we've seen, not reminiscent of what we've seen in previous weeks.
Yeah, they managed to lose on a Lotus, but we are going to move on to Breeze. So do we feel like KC come back here?
What I would like to see a comeback, but I think that I'm still giving props to FUT in their preparation. I think that they can prepare very well, and I think that this could be another example of it. Just taking an example how KC played against Giants. Now, out of all the maps that FUT has played, I was mentioning last week how even though they played so little during kickoff, they managed to ban and play different maps besides the Breeze. They came into this regular split playing 5 out of the 7, even though they just played like 2 or 3 times during kickoff. They managed to play 5 of the 7 maps, and they were perma-banning the Breeze. So this was a huge question, because they also had the chance to ban it on the second round. But no, they decided to go for the Breeze. What I want for them is a normal-ass composition.
So no Yoru? No CNED Yoru?
No, honestly,
Chamber.
after what they just did, Chamber, after what they just did, I want to see this in it. I want to see the CNED that is on the jet, that is feeling comfortable. And honestly, you have Breeze. You can have best in slot for many things. You have the jet, you have the cracks, the KO, you have the Viper, even Jet to J.
They're listening to you.
They're listening to you.
They even have Mr. Farland on Sobers.
That's what I'm telling you. I was going to go for. They have best in slot. Like, if there is a map that they should, on paper, be comfortable of, should be this one. That's why I was so, you know, I mean, I kind of understood it when in kickoff they were playing so many comps, but coming into the regular season, I need to see this Breeze.
I feel like this is going to play way too much into Carmine Core's favor right now, though, because I feel like there's so much more freedom for them to move around, especially on defense. They do things like with the hulls pushes, mid pushes, they do something different every round. And FUT, they don't look great on their executes.
Well, FUT, they're on the precipice of pulling off an upset here, but KC, they have a great chance to come back into this. So let's jump back into your to the game even with your casters, Mitch and Tom, to see if they can pull it off.
Thank you, Yinsu, Kaquka, and Steel. Map 3, we deserved it in this series, and I'm glad we got here. Breeze, a couple question marks. I think looking at FUT coming into this, I am a little bit perplexed at how the veto went down, at Breeze being left in, but there was a reason for it, Tom. That wasn't by mistake.
You have to hope so. But
I do.
The fact is, we went into the last map and we said, series is done. They pulled out a Sage as a way to win a match. They put CNED back on Jet. They're just going to play their comfort picks, and they ended up winning. So I'm not going to doubt them at this stage. They haven't played this map. They've come in with a fairly basic comp, but they are also comfortable agents. Cracks going back to his trusty KO and playing a mirror matchup. It might just come down to who's better individually rather than the comps. CNED leading the charge, back on his Jet. That might just be enough.
It's enough to win my heart, Tom, for whatever that counts for. Already some decay with the walls, but no bullets landed just yet. This is a frankly disgusting position from Yedije. And he's got them by surprise, but Martin somehow wins that fight. Ever vigilant with a reflank up through tube. Advantage sits towards the defenders, and KC have been pretty good at getting back into sites. Limited utility as they make their way back through. It's a pistol round after all, and maybe FUT can just run down that clock. As KC tapped the spike, someone needs to swing to check. It's not being stuck, and it comes at the cost of their life each time. Halfway already, and now they all look to duel on the side of KC, knowing that Ada Captain's the last alive. The snake bite will soon fade, as Ada Captain's life force does too. 1-0 goes to KC. Tom, you know what that means.
Yeah, I definitely think on this map it's going to be more difficult, but I think if there's expectations, maybe CNED can come in with a Marshall. I think that would be the one thing that can turn things. I like this though from KC. I think especially Martin getting off to a good start, I think is going to be important. Like, he is someone who had a quiet last map. The stats sort of show you that he had like an okay game statistically, but it was one round and an ace, and then everything else was a bit of a miss from him. And now, well, the real question is how to FUT win a map without a Sage, because they've been consistently running it. I would have been very upset if they brought it in on this map. And they've actually gone for a second Marshall. Mr. Farland's going to be pulling one in as well, so doubling up the potential damage with the snipers. Not this time though. CNED gone.
Well, this is it. The last map, you know, when you take an outlaw, you're sectioned into one side of the map. They go elsewhere, it's going to be tough for you to find impact. Map like this, though, plenty of open space for Martin to be playing with. That's exactly what he's doing. They're doubled up, though. 2 Marshals in a firing squad waiting for the peak to come in from Martin. Eventually, they'll back out. In fact, that timing, perfect, as Martin won't get another chance. FUT have been great on the low buy rounds, losing CNED early on. You know, that was one of the main things you said. CNED on the jet, maybe he can make it work. Maybe that Marshall can come in huge. Well, we'll have to in the hands of Yedege and Mr. Fallen, who's got an opportunity, but a pixel robs him of that chance.
Oh, it seems like he might have got positioning. Gonna try and almost confuse him a little bit. Nice shot from Yedege. Maybe this round still has a little bit of life in it. Retrieving the gun seems like an improbable possibility, but now they've killed off. Where was that? Was all the way in mid. That was a wall bang to kill off another. I don't know how they managed to make these ones competitive every single time. It almost seems like it might be worse an eco for FUT and just play into the second round. A very passive position, an almost crossfire, but the timing hasn't gone great, but it does work out for Yedege. An extra couple of tags, every little will help. He is damaging every single player, but it still comes down to just cracks. Has to try and hold on to this. A couple low, but they are clearing him out of position. Just 48 HP, and the healthy Shin will be there. Thankfully, this time, the second round, it's almost going to be one with 3 players as well. Magical.
Big improvement up against FUT. That stat finally being crushed, as it deserves to be. They had no right to find so much success in those
like
early buy rounds.
60%, right? It's still pretty
damn good. It's still very good. And remember, one of the rounds, they got it down to 1 player alive. And we saw that economical impact as the rounds went on. So, yeah, they've been good early, but now on the last map of the series, the curse is broken. KC 2-0, clean follow-up round, and now a bonus with a lot of potential, especially with Martin on the outlaw. Tagging up these players will make it so much easier for Narrate or Magnum to finish them off, as well as obviously the Bulldogs on Tombizz and Shin. Ton of potential, and somewhere that FUT need to be very cautious right off rip.
Right here.
Straight away.
Revealing area.
I'm going to see the close angle cleared by the fragment. Just basically, they're reducing the positions where CNED could be stopped from. Same with the shock dart over the back. And this post plant already in effect. Not been anything really able to deny it. A few counter pieces of utility. The drone not even used in the take. The drone is used in the post plant. Krax, however, has been hit. You mentioned that outlaw. He's on 10 HP.
Oh yeah, I mean, anything's going to take him down now. We need to see the fights come through, though. CNED onto Tombizz. It's a clean trade, but KC are closing the distance. That's all they want. That's an ambitious peak. The idea being that Magnum could trade. He got one, but no follow-up on it. And the shots landing make it ever more difficult for KC to find any value with Shin on 1 HP. It's a quick and clean follow-up from FUT. 3 players alive and 3 rifles carried through to the next. Great work, by the way, from Jack Igo. I like that third-person angle we saw coming over, because that nade from Krax not only clears the position for players, it also got rid of the trap. And that's huge, just to shut down that little piece of utility that could cause so many problems on the way through.
Either way, that was the bonus coming out from KC. So they're going to have a rifle purchase. Outlaw has changed sides, although it's mainly because of the lower finances available for Mr. Farland. Maybe expecting some level of aggression for the defense. It does seem like they might be pressuring early into A main. We've already seen the knife go over, but with no one spotted, the space will be taken by Shin. And instead for Martin, he's already going to be rotating back. Middle control, almost left completely open. This could be problematic. There is a cam watching, which will be immediately destroyed. And now the pressure is in on that B side once again.
Still a trap on site for Tombizz, but how's he getting out of this one? Hunted down by Mr. Fallen. But the kills have come in across the board. Yettage and CNET have been lost. Big players for the side of FUT. Now another hero has to step up, and they better step up quickly. The spike's being dropped in the open, and now it's fully secured by KC. 4 versus 1. Mr. Fallen would be one hell of a clutch with the Outlaw. Be one for the books. He won't land even the first. Yeah, now right was 150 coming out. 3-1. KC right back on the board. A blip for FUT, and they're back out.
Yeah, it definitely was the quick rotations, I think. Just getting that early information in towards A main allowed them to go and reclaim some of that mid control.
I can't aim, but he can't either. All good.
It's impossible not to love him. Like, and he's off to a much better start as well. Like, we saw him have a resurgence after what was a bit of a quieter first map for someone of Narrate's standards. But that's the thing, though, again, we see both the players on the KOs comfortable. This time, Martin immediately taking that control. Hunter's Fury actually used here. Now, bear in mind, this is a low buy round for the side of FUT. And a tasty shot from Martin. Definitely seems to have got his confidence back. The flash is going to be dodged by Tombizz. I've been enjoying seeing his Cypher play since he's brought it in. At least at kickoff, he was mostly sticking to that Viper. We're showing that little bit of extra depth now to his agent pool.
Did CNET? Yeah. He popped the Blade Storm. I heard the voice line activate, and I thought, is it Martin in a 5v2? Surely not. But CNET in a 2v5, it tracks. It's a FUT play. It's a CNET play. But, well, let's see what he can do. 50 seconds. The all-purpose EMP had landed on Tombizz earlier, but obviously now that trap is back online on B. The cam is there, and there's a 2-man rotate to help him out. They're choosing... I was going to say the right side of the map if they go A to at least get a plant and post-plant. But it looks like they want to fight. Right now, those opportunities are not being given away by KC. With the retake A setup, we may still see the plant come through, but it's following up on it that'll be the real challenge.
Yeah, at this point, it seems like they're more than happy to give up the plant, but I am sort of...
Oh, he made noise. He made noise again.
See that. We've seen him do so many magical things and then can't jump up the boxes. Somehow I imagine that's going to be in the replay, but for now at least he's looking for rotations, desperately hunting for some sort of fight to give Anna Captain. He's even going to be pinged up. They now know where he is, but it doesn't matter. Anna Captain now finds another somehow again. In these lower rounds, it becomes competitive, but putting CNET in the dirt, that is all they really need. Narrate will deny, and all the danger quickly dissipated. It does mean the economy's not going to be built up quite as far. And well, for FUT, a few extra credits, a few extra orbs, I guess, but not too much in this round.
I think that's quite funny as well that Yeah.
Happens to everyone. That's the thing.
It does. Even seen it. That makes me feel good, to be honest. One of the things is looking at Tombizz on the B side. He gets hit by that EMP. The knife grabs him, so all his utility's down. And you've seen him change his trap positions a couple times, the last 2 rounds in particular. Now that one's coming back, because this is the trap that we saw. I'm going to just highlight it for a sec. This is the one that we saw be destroyed by that nade through. It hadn't been placed for a while. It lets FUT get better positions. But even despite moving his traps out of the way, taking his traps offline, he still grabs 2 kills, stays alive for the late round. That's a disaster. FUT can't allow that to run, and instead, they're going to be going back to B to finish what they started. Tombizz, they don't want to let him out of here alive this time. It's Anna Captain that might have the chance to... Oh, no, never mind. The dash in from CNET. He's going in with an op in hand on the close range angles. The Blade Storm from Martin's grabbing something, but Nare down to the op as CNET doubles up and gets a little ambitious.
One enemy
Anna
remaining.
Captain in the corner. CNET will close it as well, and in the end, it is FUT to just basically hold on to the advantages that they took. It's a similar round to what we saw previously, but this time having an operator. And also, I don't think the rotations were quite as quick for the side of KC. Obviously, I think last time it was Narrate being able to flash back through mid and catch them in the flank. Instead, though, this time, I think just being able to isolate that duel onto Tombizz quick enough, and again, just some fantastic utility. I think it was from Mr. Fallen.
Oh, nice shots by CNED as well. And all that chaos, all that action allows Ada Captain to creep up close. Much better round from FUT, a lot of success. Early knife gets nothing. Sets up for the aggression of Martin, but they pull back. 4 players on A here, you gotta do something. The B side is exposed, but most importantly, mid is left wide open with that concentration of players. Spotted one inside main with the drone, but it's the mid push that I'm most concerned about. Both Shin and Martin going out to try to find the duel, at least the trade, and in fact, it's a clean one with a big piece of utility removed from FUT's belt early on in this round.
That's definitely going to make any sort of A play nigh on impossible. Instead, the reliance, again, seems to be on CNED. Util will be offline. I think he must have popped the cage just before, though. And that is actually going to buy just about enough time. Walks back into the ping as well. So they're going to have the information. There are a couple of other players on the map. And the spike is now rotating seemingly in towards A. But they haven't cleared anything out. 35 seconds left on this clock. A close position as well from Magnum.
30 seconds left.
It just has to be a fight here.
Even if you get the first, there's backup, not just in Martin. Even if you get him, there's backup, because Shin's here too. Spam gets Magnum, drone eventually goes out. 2 players coming to reinforce this push, but no Viper wall. They've got to take the fights in the open. 14 seconds left. Time really starting to run down, and not much of a reveal here. Martin, 8 seconds. He just needs to deny this, and he'll go for it. A kill quickly found. A shot from CNED might keep them back for a moment. Put some hesitation into play for these defenders until he's dropped. Great shot by Tombizz on the flank. Narrated already cleaned up Mr. Fallen seconds later. 5 on the board with the defuse secured, and the lead even further in KC's pockets.
This round was just a bit more perplexing. I don't know if the side of FUT had just thought they'd pulled off an impeccable fake by having a couple of players hit by the knife. Maybe you think, okay, well, they've seen the fact that we have KO over on B, so we'll just walk into that A site and there'll be nobody there. But KC, I don't know why they would have gambled it. They didn't manage to push Tombizz into any awkward position. He didn't see anyone on the site. No one even touched his cage, so he's now got all of his util back online, information and support from the raid. So I don't know why FUT thought they managed to pull everybody off of that site, but it almost just looked a little bit panicky towards the end. Now, coming back in, Martin's going walkabouts as an operator of his own. Magnum also going pushing, and it's a snap from Yedajay. Just that little bit quicker on the reactions.
That gets them a lot of info to 3 players towards this spawn. They know they can isolate Tombizz. Pressure him back, spam him up. He's 30 HP as he rounds the corner to safety. Won't be too impactful in the late fights by the looks of it, and there'll be no utility for a little while as the spike eventually gets planted. For KC on the way back through, Martin's going to hope to find an angle with the operator. I think probably the point of contact for this defensive side will be him. Scoped in, looking for something. Yedajay still lurking. They're wise to it. They're clearing it, but not good enough. Yedajay has been unbelievable, and off that alone, they will fall back and concede this round. 5 versus 3. Damage done to Tombizz, and a valuable op still to be saved.
Yeah, of course, we haven't seen a mass amount of KC's attack because of their dominant defensive side when they played up against a GX in week number 1, but we know that their defense is impeccable when it came to picking up a lot of those rounds, and especially with the pistol. FUT managed to keep this one competitive. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to shut down any of those weapons, but again, a slightly more direct approach seems to be the name of the game for them at this stage, and they haven't managed to retrieve that operator. But to be honest, I don't really mind it. I think having CNED as the tip of the spear is a little bit more important than him being able to find those openers with an op.
This goes here.
And for Martin, he's at least going to get his back into play for this next round.
This
but
is a nice spot. This goes here.
We'll see if it's going to be able to have that same impact. Seems like he's going to try and roam around mid after FUT have had a couple of rounds where they've been able to take that control.
Offside play as well for Tombizz, so he won't get hit by the knife. Gets hit by the knife.
3 people did.
That's a reposition from that utility, and Krax has found a gold mine, putting some pressure on B, but there's no one there to capitalize on it. Instead is some fake control as they spread out and look for individual fights. Looks like Ada Captain found his.
I can see the frustration in the cam as well from Martin. You just got to be fuming. It just gets insta-popped.
Cage.
The captain has gone down early in a lot of these rounds. Instead now, again, the pressure comes on to the young man from Portugal trying to hold the backside, and it's close, but no cigar. In fact, they're all dropping like flies. Narrate tries to get back in and help, but he's a little bit late. CNED may go down to a shot, don't know. It's instead going to bounce onto Krax, who's taking a lot of damage. And actually, with Magnum finding another, if this kill goes the other way, this is starting to fall apart.
37 and 11 HP, Tom. Two players extremely low, and both are the ones on site, isolated by this Viper wall. Magnum, he snuck around up close, but the shot is found too quickly, and the flank from Yedege locks in the win. FUT with 4, and that 5-3 lead, or 5-2 lead, quickly closes in on KC. Now FUT are right behind them.
Yeah, it looked like that was going to be an overheat round. I almost think yeah, you've just got to see how frustrating that is, and you understand why. CNED as well, just about scraping through with his fight. And yeah, they almost got caught out, but managed to weather the storm. Weaponry now starting to be an issue as well for KC. Like, this has been such a great early start to this map with a back and forth ultimately being in their favor. But if they lose this next one, they could be in a bit of trouble.
Could definitely start to slip out of their hands. Surprised to see risks like this being taken. Martin got dunked on last round up in window. Now he's pushed up to play behind the box. It's not an easy position to find value from. Often the one kill and then you go down. And that's if they decide to push it together. Flash thrown deep. I don't think it's going to catch him. Now Martin's still good, tucked in this corner, and there's no fights elsewhere for KC. In fact, there'll be no fight here. Backing off, I was expecting CNED to barrel in towards it. Instead, they'll move towards the B side again. The knife from Krax. Remember, Tombizz repositioned last round to avoid it, and he's getting hit by it again. And it's hunting him down every single time, and now revealed, and oh my! I mean,
everything.
A Hunter's Fury and a nade, a dash in from CNED. There was nowhere to go.
No, he even gets pinged by the dart as well, so they knew exactly where he was. No surviving that one.
Welcome to my world.
They're even going to throw in the Viper's Pit up close. I don't even know if he'll be needed. CNED just kills everybody. Martin trying to fight back, but he will find only the two. Again, the thing is, FUT, they adapted their take once more into this B site. And I think it must just be so confusing for Martin. The last couple of rounds, almost every round, they've gone for splits through mid. They've taken mid control, Ada Captain popped his head. We've had them run up. They won the first time they did it. The next time they got caught by CNED going that way. This time, they do the exact same strat, but with no mid control. So you had all that information from Martin probably going, well, I don't think they're going B because they always take mid, and then they just direct hit, and it's completely onto Tombizz, as you said, versus a dart, Hunter's Fury, what was it, a nade at the end, like it just, and CNED
dashed up alley.
Let's not forget CNED, who's top of the board, 12 and 7.
It's impossible. It was literally impossible to survive, and I would love to see a highlights. Not even a highlights, just a little compilation of Tombizz's rounds, because so much of it has been stand there, wait, KO knife, dash in, utility on me, there's 5 players and you're dead, and then they've lost B. And he repositions, he still gets hit by it. It's just the paranoia this guy's living under. I'm surprised he doesn't put his traps B and just go A at this point.
The funny thing is as well, if you're normally the B side player, the main complaint the B side players on Breeze have is that you don't do anything other than try and retake A. And FUT have just gone, no, we're going to push a B, like, I don't know, I'd say 8 out of the 10 rounds you've seen so far. Like,
and it's not even, sorry, it's not just the knife. It's also like the nade to take his trap down. And there's just so many, every time he tries something, they're ahead of him. It's like they can see what he's doing.
Now, the one thing that could pad the gap here a little bit is the fact that they do have ults. You've got yourself the Blade Storm thrown in immediately. Martin's like, right, this time they're not mid. I'm telling you, And while I'm sure Narrate probably agrees, Hunter's Fury is going to help out massively. They're trying to use these ults to pad the gap, but CNED has now popped one of his own. He realized what's going on a little bit earlier than anyone else.
Oh, that flash is perfect, Martin. He had no chance with the pop from Krax. Krax's utility is just out of this world. You see why we talk about this guy on a KO. He might have lost his life here, but the trades make it worthwhile. Leaving only Tombizz, and they take him 1 by 1. Red Bull clutch as Carmine Corp keep the lead.
If you don't head to B, he'll come to you. Finally, he got some fights that were a little bit fairer. Them both having guns and him having a sheriff. Yeah, fairer than what he's been up against so far. Even still, what a huge round. It was the ult spam. It was what they threw in, but ultimately, it came down to this man. Just popping heads. Oh!
And that was a much needed round as well. Secures Economy gets an op online from Martin coming into the final round of the half, and FUT could be trailing by 2. It's been a pretty close game with KC being tailed by FUT again and again. It looks like we might close out that way, at least if KC have their way about it. Viper's Pit already activated, and there's traps ahead of it. And the trap user is on the other side of the map, so hopefully won't get hit by the knife. Really strong setup on B.
Somehow he always does, though. He's like a magnet.
It's gonna land on his head.
Martin also, I was about to say, has not been having much success with the op. He's been better with the rifle. Every time he's had the operator, it seems like he's been slaughtered. And while this time, again, something he probably didn't expect was Mr. Fallen coming in with an op, solo peeking him, and managing to win the fight. It's left Magnum isolated, taking a lot of spam. He was hoping he could maybe find the plant. Instead, he's found everything else. Welcome to Tombiz's world, Magnum. Every single piece of utility. But they still haven't managed to get that plant in. Shock darts still available. Magnum, I don't know where he's going to get to use them. And instead, Anna Captain now splitting him from the backline is going to make things just that little bit worse. Even still, though, KC are clinging to life. The fight back not going to happen as Yedajay comes through, and now Shin left in a clutch.
At least we'll catch all his kills this time. 1 versus 2.
You get off that first cam now.
Mr. Fallen and CNED sitting around with the information to work with. He's still around here as the recon gets destroyed. The wall cutting it up only beckons them forward. Double peek through it for 6-6. A tied up scoreline at the halftime. It's hard to separate these two teams. We found that out in the first 2 maps. That's why we're here. We're neck and neck, even still.
This is just my favorite thing about this is I feel like throughout this entire series, Martin has probably just had so many unexplainable deaths. Like, it's like, oh, how did you die this round? Well, there was a cloud burst and Anna Captain shot 1 bullet through it and killed me in the head. Okay, well, okay, you hold A main with an operator. Mr. Fallen, yeah, well, the Sova player, he solo peeked me with no utility with an operator. Has he played operator at all? No, just this round. He just decided to buy one and kill me with it. Like, he just got to be sat there going, yep.
Should have seen that coming, mate.
Yeah, cool, nice one. Then either way.
It's funny because Krax is on the bottom of the scoreboard, and yet I think he's had the most impact. It's not even like 3 assists. It's not about that. It's the utility stripped away. It's the lack of impact Tombiz's been allowed to have in a lot of rounds where he would have walked away with so much more if it wasn't for that annoyance. Some really nice setups by FUT to claim space, but even still, they end up neck and neck. Now on their defense, you best believe they're still going for aggressive plays. This is FUT we're talking about. 3-man push, and that timing could not physically be any better. If you choreographed it, they are slipping right behind them. Will they see them? No, there's an orb up, it's dropped, and there you go. Oh, out in the open for CNED. Easy pickings with 3 quick kills. This round seems to be done and dusted.
I swear to God, no one else's ghost works like that. Like, normally you'd see someone spam 15 bullets at the back of their head. CNED, though, it just doesn't. It doesn't miss at all! This is why you want to see this man on Jet. Don't give me a chamber. Don't give me a bloody Yoru. Put this man on Jet, and he'll take over the game.
It's what he does. It's what he always does, and there's no stopping him here today. 17 kills on this map already.
It doesn't, like, I've seen so many players up behind someone like, oh, I'm going to get him, and then you see a whole clip just shot into their butt crack.
It's the hardest shot to hit behind them. Behind 3. But you can see this guy's been hitting aim laps. Been hitting it hard. 7-6 advantage to FUT And the buy, similar to what we saw from KC, couple rifles and an outlaw to work with. Only classics for KC. How poetic it would be if they won this round.
It would be karma.
It would be deserved.
The ultimate karma.
I reckon we'd switch to Geis, and he'd be like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
we had that coming.
No, he wouldn't.
No.
He definitely wouldn't. But I like the idea of it. Unfortunately, it's not got off to a great start. Nice flash. That's something. I would have been impressed if Narrate managed to get the second one. Now, I guess the only saving grace about this round so far is, well, firstly they got 2 kills, but also CNED hasn't had... CNED hasn't had any of the kills, which would put him very close to a Bladestorm, especially if he gets this kill and then defuses. Yeah, like that.
That will get him very close to a Bladestorm.
That would actually get him his Bladestorm.
Just straight up on it.
That was the silver lining before the last 15 seconds of the round.
Before he got the Bladestorm online, yeah. The highlight was he doesn't have it at least. Well, 8-6 coming into round 3 of the half. You've got a full buy for the rest of the team, a pistol in the hands of CNED, and knives floating all around him. This is a terrifying start because not only has CNED got an ace in the first round, a 2K in the follow-up, now he's got the Bladestorm to come and hunt you right down. And this buy round for KC is going to have an element of hesitation to wherever they go.
Let's put it this way. In-game, you can see his nice little shiny champions Karambit. And it's going to take a lot for someone to stop that shining, because that's for the top top fragger in the game. Mr. Fallen as well, back on the sniper. I could almost bet he's going to kill Martin. Like, you can almost bet on it. They also seem to have almost perfect timing with each other. Martin, of course, does have the rifle. CNED not seeing anything. Had a captain. Are they about to set him up? It looks like they might have a flash for this. They do counter flash, but it's not needed.
Great shutdown. Good start to the round. That defensive side aggression expected, especially when you've got weaknesses.
Deploying drone.
And I like the KC don't jump the gun. They don't go rushing towards it. There's no plan to pick up the pace. Still 50 seconds, plenty of time to play with. And realistically for them, they just don't want to end up on the stacked site. Knife on A, that's going to keep 3 players here. That single piece of utility, Cloudburst used, Dash heard, and 2 players spotted with the knife. Huge information, but capitalizing on it is something else entirely, evidently. Would have been shut down. This was a bonus round with some serious bite to it.
Yeah.
But, well, they've come out of that one empty-handed.
No, you could even see the FUT were willing to sort of push the boundaries, get aggressive. They do still have to be careful, though. They've kept this one nice and clean. A good way to build up the finances, but Yedege is someone that you don't really want to give anything over to. The fact is, other than the rate, they're all sat back, waiting within A main. Yedege just slowly encroaching. Doesn't have any utility to close the gap, and well, you can see that Narrate, the reason he's fighting is because he wants to get that ult. He's going to have himself the no command for the next round, and an Andaluthia flawless to get them back in contention.
Yeah, this setup was extremely nice. Not only is the initial fight for Martin, because of the angle he's on, he's not caught by that flash, but even if it does go all the way through, like you said, Tom, there was a counter flash there and ready. And that's what I'd like to see, is a team that has an idea, okay, what tools do they have at their disposal? What are they likely to do, and how can we set up to break them when they do that? And you could see the KC were willing to wait all damn round, if that's what it took. 1 round gap, full buy for both sides. The B site was very successful for FUT on their attack. They had a lot of ideas for how to get through there. You never really saw the impact you needed to coming out of Yedege, but the traps are still online. Yedege's on the other side of the map, so as they walk through, they still haven't realized, still haven't walked right into them. And when they do, that's the chance for Adacaptain to show up. That's Shin down on the back of some information. All thanks to Yedege.
Spike planted.
Yeah, he's managed to give them that man advantage. Almost extends it a little bit further. Spams. Looking to come through the wall, Narrate trying to play a cheeky angle, and it has worked out. Even still, though, Adacaptain there again for the trade. The flash solid, but Magnum not quite able to capitalize, and Adacaptain. We've seen an explosive first round out from CNED. Well, now, I guess the second man on the board is going to be Adacaptain, pulling up with a 4K.
Really, really nice setup. I love this idea from FUT to leave the utility on B, to have other players there, realizing that there's a good chance Narrate comes in and pops his null command, that they storm the site on the back of that. They've avoided it completely, and I'm not surprised, considering so much of FUT's attack side game plan was, let's take Tombiz's utility out. So they go, they might try to take our utility out this time. And it worked out perfectly. Like I say, I love to see teams thinking a step ahead. What are they going to do, and how do we combat that? Beautiful stuff. It's plain as day in a round like that.
Well, thankfully, because of the Flawless, there's not really any problems whatsoever for KC. And they also have a couple of ults getting ever closer. Martin's going to take the orb and get him one away from the Bladestorm. Magnum also one off that Hunter's Fury. He might be able to challenge for the orb elsewhere, but Yinsu actually repositioning his utility midway through the round. We're going to see that pop flash thrown in. I don't know if this is going to be a late lurk, because the spike is over on that A site, but they now start running it back over. There is nothing within this B site. In fact, the only trip is in case they get aggressive from mid.
They would have been shock darted on the way through, so effect is the same. It's whether they expect Yinsu to still be here. You've got to be conscious of these angles anyways. That's where the rotates are going to come from.
But it's exactly where Adacaptain was last round. So if they're not expecting it, you'd have to almost be a little bit foolish. CNED not able to connect that initial shot. Now they'll definitely not. I don't know where Shin has just died from. A straight up wallbang from Mr. Fallen, and they are now falling like flies. Every single member of KC, an attempted fight back. And Martin, he was meant to be the last man on the block. They had the sight for the majority of that round, but the rotation comes through. Shin gets wrecked. The spike gets dropped, and Martin has no choice but to save.
Yeah, it is the only call at this point for FUT. Double digits now secured, 3-round gap locked in. Ultis coming online. Adacaptain may even have his Viper's Pit for retake on next round. There's a lot of things stacking up against KC. And for FUT, well, been a few rounds since I've seen that pop off. You always know that one's queued up, ready to go.
It's been too long. It's been like 2 rounds, you know? So
yeah, that's too many. Too many for this man. A timeout is called by Carmine Corp. They need a moment or two to gather themselves. And I think the key difference of this versus even the first map, for example, that's the second timeout for KC. FUT still have 2. So if things start to get shaky, if the game starts to slip out of their hands, they can always reach back and have a moment to talk to Geis. Worst case scenario, fake a wrist injury and get him on the stage, you know? He'll pop off.
So we've been talking obviously about like FUT and playing Breeze. Like we said that like they've not played it this year. Well, the truth is they didn't play it last year either. Like it's been a map that's been completely out. Obviously it wasn't within the map pool, so it made it a little bit more difficult. But the last time they played it was all the way back in 2022. So it has been clearly a long time coming for them. For a first showing with obviously a roster of changes, this is massively impressive. And I do think that when you have CNED, when you have a map that is characteristically just fantastic for Jet, it doesn't make sense that it comes back into the pool for them. I think it's going to be difficult, especially for guys, even if we do see a resurgence from KC, it's going to be difficult for guys going forward if he puts CNED on anything other than Jet, because what this man is able to do when his focus is purely on the fragging nature, well, he looks like one of the best teams and the best players in the world.
Yeah.
20 and 11. Adacaptain's starting to wake up. Yedajay's not gone anywhere. And just look at what's in play. Narrate has a rifle. They've actually bought up another as well. One was dropped from Martin, of course. Shin has purchased one. They're taking a bit of a gamble here. It's because of this Bladestorm.
It does give him a lot of potential. Martin, oh no! He spammed down and Mr. Fallen catches Narrate off rip. This round just got a whole lot more difficult. A nice shot by Tombizz. That could go in a highlight reel. Problem is, they're not winning this round. Adacaptain with another 4K. Answering up with 11-7 on the board. KC are in dire straits and they're out of timeouts. No more chances to go back and chat to Aang, chat to Zeish.
Unless FUT
That was the reveal. I didn't notice the reveal. That's absolutely perfect timing for Mr. Fallen.
The funny thing as well, I'm sure there would have been a point where maybe like a VLR forum or a Reddit thread, like towards the end of the day going, they just got carried by CNED on Jet. Well, Captain's ruining that now because he's actually catching up on the board, 16 and 10. He's got his Viper's Pit online, no surprises there.
Shout out our cam ops, by the way, for getting they're observing on the stage behind Captain. It's kind of nuts. If I had a camera to stand behind someone, I'd pick CNED. So they really made the right play.
Yeah.
4 rounds in it. Yeah, look, this is a tough one. And for KC, putting all the credits on the line, Tom, it's the swing round. This is it. If they're going to have a heartbeat towards the end of this map, better start pumping here and now. You know, see them break through this Viper's Pit? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the play. It looks like they want to root their way through middle and apply pressure from both sides. You're still going to see those 2 players in main have to contend without a captain who's been popping off.
The thing is as well, look,
As a Vandal too, I hate that.
Look at the rotation. Well, I guess no one died, so we would have had to basically.
Yeah, just chuck it away.
But here we go. Knife is used to try and give him a little bit of extra information. The thing is, you don't want to push into a pit anyway, but pushing into a pit versus Captain, who's been so good. And the read, honestly, is sublime.
Nice.
They're going to take away the rest of his utility. The flash will help him out a little bit. Captain definitely under pressure, but CNED is just watching from behind. They're finally going to get towards him, finally going to clear him out. But there's so many more players here that they have to deal with. 20 seconds left. Shin will put another on the death toll, but Mr. Farland was just hiding in the back of the site. He was waiting for his moment. And because of that, FUT are now going to get themselves to 12. As said, a map that we haven't seen them play in a long, long time. They are currently winning 6 out of their 7 defensive rounds. That is filth. Marty genuinely is the unluckiest person on the planet. Like, he's just been owned.
Tombizz might have a word or two after that defensive side with you, but I can see what you're saying, Tom.
Yeah, but the thing is, at least the stuff that's killing Tombizz is really well structured and planned. Whereas Martin's like, I just got hit by an op. I've been headshot through a smoke. Like, it's just stuff that you can't do anything about.
Yeah, and Mr. Fallen as well. You're talking about the headshot through the smoke. That was Mr. Fallen's recon that got that done. Huge impact in the round that they came towards being. Even if the stats don't show it, only assists.
It depends which one we're talking about. Martinez had that like 3 times.
Seen a few. And then you talk about the last round for Mr. Fallen and IGL. A leader, and he leads from the front with a 3K to put 12 on the board to give FUT 5 chances to close out this map and finally have their revenge on KC, the team that ended their run to get to Madrid. A devastating blow to FUT after consistently being able to reach international events. Hey, looks like they're back on form with a 2-0 start to the season. If they can get 1 more of these next 5 rounds.
Unfortunately as well, the buy stinks. It sucks. You've got like literally a pistol on one of the players. Now straight away, they are going to be able to take the util off this time. CNED hasn't been needing to use much of it. And the Hunter's Fury definitely helping out, giving Yedajay the extra space to just dominate again and again. He just takes over these rounds. The individuals on FUT are thriving. And well, they might just be one of the most fearsome teams within EMEA right now. They are back with a vengeance.
Vengeance, that's the key word here. KC took him down last time, and now they step on that regional stage and show him it ain't happening twice. FUT looking indomitable starting this season, and the question is, who is going to take them down? Who can take him down now?
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. I think many people thought this would be another sort of, well, I guess a cleaner run, because that was the thing. KC's initial run saw them in the play-ins. Like, it wasn't the cleanest at the beginning, but the fact is, they have come up against a formidable opponent. They've taken them to a map that they looked fantastic on and got beaten hap-handedly. We've seen CNED, that newest signing, or one of the newest signing on the block, thrive back on Jet. We've seen Yedajay as well. Has to be one of the most impressive rookies we've probably ever seen step onto this stage. And well, we know the rest of it are always going to be thriving. Unorthodox comps, some weird stuff in the middle. But the fact is, they've taken it home today.
And as much as I hate to get involved in backseat gaming, CNED can't play anything other than a Jet, right? Come on, Charles. It's unreal. 21-13, and I feel like I've entered a time machine watching this game, Tom, because he is back, baby, up against a team that has just delivered a phenomenal run on the international stage that came in week 1 and looked incredible. And now, well, they barely got off the starting mark on the final map, a map that I think we all had questions about FUT in the Vino system even letting it through, and here they are. They don't look too bad at all.
No, that's the thing. They have basically walked into the home of KC in Lotus, beaten them with a comp that, as said, it said on the desk, I don't think many other teams can do that. They can't run that comp. It won't work for them. They've then gone on to Breeze, a map that they haven't played since 2022, at which KC played a week ago and won 13-4 and beaten them 13-7 just moments later. And now they had themselves 2-0. I'm sure Yinsu is going to have plenty of questions for Geis, and one of them better be about CNET only playing Jet.
Don't worry, Tombizz, I've got you. I'm joined by FUT's coach. Guy is here, and Mo is going to be translating a little bit for us. Now, first of all, huge congratulations. That was such a great victory from you guys. I feel like maybe people were saying you overcooked a little bit at kickoff. Do you feel like at this point you're very happy with the strategy and the comms you guys are running, and that's the reason why you were able to win today?
Yani bir şeyler denemek her zaman çok güzel oluyor. Ama bunların ne zaman sonucunu alabilirsek o zaman daha da mutlu oluyoruz tabii ki de. Bence bugün overcook yaptık Lotus haritasında. Biraz farklı bir komplo oynadık. Ama bunu oynamamızın sebebi de sadece bir fikir üzerineydi. Ve onu da iyi yaptık. Diğer harita olarak Bind özelinde de çok fazla bir şey yapmadık aslında ekstradan. Sadece 11-11'deyken Smoke'dan bir flash atsaydık şu an Breeze oynamamış ve 2-0 kapatmış olacaktık. Ama Breeze haritası için sadece oynadık ve kazandık. Çünkü çok yaptığımız bir şey yoktu. Çünkü karşı takımın da Breeze ban'ını biliyorduk zaten. O yüzden şimdi kolay gelsin.
It's kind of good to overthinking sometimes if you get the result, of course. He thinks we get some overcooking in the Lotus map, and we get the result, and we cook this comp because of the one idea, and we did it well. About the bind, if we flash from smoke in 11 to 11 round, maybe we couldn't play Breeze at all. We know that they're not that good in Breeze, and we also not the best map is our Breeze. So basically, we cook well.
No.
I think you cooked very well. Let's talk about that Breeze. You've been banning it and banning it and banning it and not playing it. So why today? Why did we see it today of all days?
Herhangi bir fikrim yok.
No idea.
Oh, I mean, it was your choice. You didn't have to. You could have banned it, right? So maybe you felt confident?
Yaklaşık 3 gün önce bunu planlamıştık, takımla konuşmuştuk. Herhangi bir şekilde biri çalışmamıştık o zamana kadar. Geçen senenin Fnatic Pearl map'i gibi full ban gitmesini istiyorduk. Ama demek ki bir yerde bunu yapmamak gerekiyor. Çünkü karşı tarafın zayıf olduğunu biliyorduk. Çünkü karşı tarafın herhangi bir fikrinin olmadığını biliyorduk. Karşı tarafta herhangi bir fikir altyapısı oluşmadığında oyunları çok kötüydü. Ve bunun da farkındaydık. O yüzden bir de Breeze haritasında 5 karakterde main karakteriydi. Sinet, Jet, Yetu, Cypher, Krax, Kayo, Sova, Mr. Fallen, Ata Viper. Hepsinin best karakteriydi. O yüzden de kolay oldu açıkçası.
We talked about Breeze thing 3 days ago, and we didn't practice at all before that. It's like a Fnatic Pearl thing. We didn't want to play it, but we know that they also don't know anything about Breeze, and our players' main character in Breeze, like Yetu, Cypher, CNET, Jet. These are our main characters, so we all gave them and do something in 3 days.
Oh, comfortable. Lastly, very, very quickly, I'm glad you mentioned CNET Jet. Do you think that is his best agent? Is that something that you need to keep doing for you guys to keep winning?
Yes.
I mean, we agree. Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations once again. Thank you, Mo, for translating as well. We have another great match coming up. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, Team Vitality will be taking the stage against Team Heretics.
Thank you.
Nice! 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 Nice!
I know a place that will break you into 1,000 pieces. Stay away from them. Stay away from Lorca, Paco, and Picasso. Don't ask about Lola. I, Caballo Grande. I, Dolor de Nieve. But, in spite of everything, it occurs to you to visit Andalusia. Don't say I didn't warn you. Be careful of the Andalusian crush.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin, former professional Counter-Strike player and Valorant coach. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle, you're going to be able to fight this.
Red Bull gives you wings.